Have you? Okay, all right. We're gonna try to do this without laughing. All right. Have you ever considered what you would or could do? Have you ever considered what you would or could do in Spanish? For example, if you say, I would ride a horse, okay? Or I could ride a horse. In Spanish, you have to put an ia at the end of the verb. So to ride a horse, montar means to ride. Montar. You can think of like to mount if you mount something. Anyway, montar is a regular AR verb. And so montar, and then you put in ia at the end. So montar, ia. Yo montaría. Yo montaría en caballo. I would mount a horse. Or I would ride on a horse or something like that. Anyway, so um let's talk about the conditional tense, because that's what this is. It's called the conditional, or in Spanish el potencial simple. Okay, vamos a hablar del potencial simple en español. Voy a compartir una pantalla con ustedes. Let me go ahead and share this board here. All right, so if you want to learn how to form the conditional, and this is all you need to know, then this is all you need to know. You just need to know what it is and how to do it, right? So you follow the format and then you put these endings. But remember, the endings have to go at the very end of the verb, right? So conditional endings are added to the infinitive form of regular verbs. All right. So there they are, conditional form. Let's give you like an example. So hablar, which means to speak. I would speak or I could speak would be hablaría. Or you would speak, it's hablarías. Or he or she would speak, hablaría. So you see what we've done here. So these are the endings. Ia. I'm just simply putting in ia for the yo form. Now, if you are completely confused as to what I'm talking about, then let me go ahead and explain really fast. Okay? So nobody will be confused. Everybody who understands this now understands how to form the conditional. Now let me explain a little bit for those who don't understand. For those who don't understand, the way you form the conditional is with this format. Yo means I. Tú means you. Él means he. Ella means she. Usted, this is an abbreviated form for usted. It's UD. It's a polite or formal way of saying you. In Spanish, you say usted. And then also the it is because sometimes it can be doing a verb, right? For example, if I say my marker, it writes. My marker is blue. It is blue. Okay. So nosotros means we. Vosotros means you guys in Spain. Ellos means they. And so does ellas, but ellas is they only if they're all females. And then ustedes means you guys in Latin America, not to be confused with vosotros. Vosotros means you guys in Spain, and ustedes means you guys in Latin America. Coincidentally, ustedes also means you guys in Spain, and vosotros also means you guys in Latin America. What I mean to say is that it's used predominantly in Spain. Vosotros is used predominantly in Spain. Doesn't mean that you won't run into some people from Spain outside of Spain who still might use vosotros. All right. Even I use vosotros sometimes when I'm talking to people or reading literature or whatever, depending on what I'm reading or who I'm talking to. But for the most part, in the Americas, in Spanish-speaking countries outside of Spain, we use ustedes to say you guys. Hola, ustedes. Hi, you guys. Kind of like in English when I say you guys, right? Well, a lot of people would say, hey, you guys, what do you mean? It's not you guys, you say y'all. And so it's just a little difference like that. You guys, y'all, or just simply you, and then it's understood that it's plural. Anyway, before I go off the deep end talking about subject pronouns, that's what these are, subject pronouns, because they do a verb. A pronoun is just a thing that replaces a noun. But when you're talking about subject pronouns, well, that's more specific. We're talking about a thing that replaces a noun that's doing a verb. So yo replaces myself, and it's ready to do a verb. Yo hablo, I speak. Yo hablaría, I would speak, or I could speak. Okay, so now that we're caught up on what subject pronouns are, let's talk about when we use the conditional. I've already talked about it a little bit here, but let's talk about it a little bit more. So the conditional is used for a couple of different reasons. Let me see if I can fix something here real fast that I didn't realize was broken. Okay. There. Now it's no longer broken. Here we go. So the conditional is used to express would or could with a future hypothetical context. And then the conditional is also used to express probability in the past. Now let me do some examples here. So examples would or could with a future hypothetical context. An example of that would be yo me iría temprano. So ir means to go. Temprano means early. Yo me iría temprano. I would go early. Or I would leave early. Kind of gives the same meaning. I would leave early. Yo podría hacerlo. Yo podría hacerlo. I should probably mention before we move on that there are some irregular conditional verbs, and podría is one of them. And so let me stop sharing this. Before we move on, let me just show you those irregular conditional tense verbs. They happen to be the same ones as the future tense verbs that are irregular. So hacer, which means to do, for whatever reason, you don't say hacería, you say haría. Just like in the future tense, if you guys remember, it's up here somewhere. Right here. So future tense, these irregular ones in the future tense, we had hacer, to do, it's haré, harás, hará, haremos, haréis, harán. And querer, querré, querrás. So now we're doing it with the conditional. We say haría, harías, haría, or querría, querrías, querría. So that means I would want, you would want, he or she would want, or possibly usted. Querríamos, we would want. Querríais, you guys would want. Querrían, they would want, or you guys would want, depending on if it's ellos or ellas or ustedes, right? And same thing with decir is diría, haber, habría, saber, sabría, poder, podría. And there we are. That's podría, podríamos, podríais. Any one of those. Podría. Poner, pondría. Tendría, saldría, vendría, valdría, cabría. Yo cabría. Okay? Yo cabría. That's an exercise that we will do afterwards. Okay. Let's go back to our board. So, yo podría hacerlo means I could do it. I could do it. Yo podría. Yo podría hacerlo. I could do it. There it is. Okay. And then we have examples of expressing probability in the past. Let's go ahead and take a look at these ones, and I'll just put them all on the board at once. So, to express probability in the past, it has to have a past tense context to it. But if you use the conditional inside of a past tense context, it makes it sound like you're expressing your opinion of probability about something that happened in the past. So, for example, if you say, ¿Qué hacía Juan ayer a las 5 de la mañana? What was Juan doing yesterday at 5 in the morning? No sé. I don't know. Estaría dormido. He was probably asleep. Estaría means to be. Estar means to be. Estaría means would be. And so it's like saying he would be. Dormido, we know means to be asleep. Dormido, asleep. So estaría dormido. He would be asleep. Or in other words, he's probably asleep. And that's what is understood in Spanish when you say that in that context. Estaría dormido. He was probably asleep. All right. Another example. Cuando eras joven, serías bombero. When you were young, you were probably a firefighter. Bombero means firefighter. Ser is the verb. Ser means to be when it has more of a, when it tends to be permanent. So like occupations, the job that you had, the job title would be something that you use ser for and not estar. So remember, if it's for a job title, you use ser. You can go back and check out my video on ser versus estar, because in English, they both translate into to be. And so you don't want to get those mixed up in Spanish. In English, you don't have to worry about it. All right. So, cuando eras joven, serías bombero. When you were young, that's joven, young. When you were young, you would be bombero, firefighter. Or in other words, you were probably a firefighter. When you were young, you were probably a firefighter. Cuando eras joven, serías bombero. So those are the two main uses of the conditional tense, el potencial simple. But remember, you don't want to get the would or could mixed up with a different type of would or could in English. Because sometimes in English, maybe I can just put this right here. Sometimes in English, Would or could is used to mean used to or used to be able to. You know what I'm talking about, right? If I say, well, when I was a kid, I would do that no problem, right? Or I used to be able to do that no problem. And so colloquially, depending on where you live and how you like to talk, how you speak your English, would and could be referring to the past preterite or imperfect, which we've done other videos on the preterite and imperfect. So that's not the would or could we're talking about when we're talking about the conditional. The conditional is used with a future or hypothetical context. The would or could in English that's used to express something in the past, you know, like used to or used to be able to, that's going to be probably going to be the imperfect. Sometimes it could be the preterite as well, but either way, it's going to be a past tense conjugation. Okay, so we don't want to get those mixed up. Just remember, the conditional, the way that it conjugates is like the future tense, and so you can just remember that generally speaking, it's referring to something in the future. The only exception to that is when you're expressing probability in the past. Okay, so let's do some exercises. All right, so some exercises. We have those ones right here. I'm only going to do 3 of them, and then I'll let you guys do the other 3. There's 6 questions on this one, and we're just going to do 3 of them. All right, so conjugate the indicative verb to the conditional tense to indicate what the subject would or could do. Follow the model. El presidente de México poder cambiar la dirección del país. El presidente de México podría. So poder has to be changed. The president of Mexico, poder means to be able to or can. In this case, we know it means could in a hypothetical or future context. He could cambiar la dirección del país. Cambiar means to change. La dirección is a cognate. That means the direction. El país is the country. De, el. This is a contraction in Spanish. De plus el turns into del. Of the. De means of. El means the. Del means of the. Del. Contracted. El presidente de México podría cambiar la dirección del país. He could change the direction of the country. El país means country. Okay. La gente ayudar unos a otros. The people ayudar. The people help one another. But we want to say this hypothetically. The people would help one another, would or could help one another. And so I'm just going to help you. I'm going to do the first 3 with you. La gente, make sure it's a capital L. We get rid of these forward slashes. Ayudar, what do we do with ayudar? We have to put ayudaría, right? What is the subject of this verb? La gente is the subject. Let me change the color of that. Red, right? La gente. La gente is doing the verb ayudar. So we go back over to board number 1. La gente, the people, is singular. And so because it is singular, it has to be it, the people. And la gente in Spanish is singular. And so it can only be it. I know that in English, the people, you wouldn't say, for example, the people is, you would say the people are. It's understood in English that the people is a plural noun and a plural subject. And so it'd be ellos. But in Spanish, la gente is always singular. You could say las gentes. It's kind of like saying the group of people. If I say the group of people, it is a big group of people. So even though people is plural, I still say it is. Whereas if I were to cut out the fact that it's a group of people and then I just said people, then I would say they are. People are. The group of people, it is. People, they are. So it's the difference between it is and they are. It is for when it's singular, and they are is for when it's plural. At any rate, in Spanish, la gente is singular. And because it is singular, we have to use these conjugations. The subject is going to be singular third person, it. And so we have to use this conjugation right there. We say ella. And so we're going to go over here and we put la gente ayudaría. Ayudaría unos a otros. Unos a otros. La gente ayudaría unos a otros. The people would help each other. El crimen, crime, bajar, to go down. El crimen, so crime is now doing the verb bajar, to go down. And we want to say crime would go down. Crime would go down. And so it would go down. Once again, we have to use ella. Ella right here. Notice that the yo form and the third person form is the same. Ella and ella. Eventually, this becomes automatic. I don't even think about it anymore. Like, oh, la gente sí, la gente ayudaría. El crimen bajaría. Yo me iría. Tú te irías. Nosotros nos iríamos. I don't even think about it. It's just like it's automatic. And so you just have to practice. El presidente de México podría, right? Podría. La gente ayudaría. El crimen bajaría. Yeah, I was waiting for you guys to answer. El crimen bajaría. La corrupción. Well, guess what? That's going to be an it type of thing again. The corruption would leave or go away. Irse means to go, and it's used reflexively. It gives the impression that it just goes away. Irse. And so remember, with reflexive verbs, you have to put the reflexive pronoun first, se, and then we put ir, se, ir, ia, se iría. La corrupción se iría. Can you guys do these other three? El peso, estar respaldado por oro. What is peso? El peso is the Mexican currency. El peso. Los grandes banqueros y carteles, enojarse. What's that one going to be? Remember to put that reflexive pronoun somewhere else. Haber is used to show how much of something that there is. It's like saying have, but it's like saying there would be. Haber, orden en las fronteras. Fronteras, the border. Order at the border. There would be, right? So you guys go ahead and do 4, 5, and 6. And I'll copy and paste this down in the comments. Let's do another one. Let's do one more here. This one will be less work for you. All right. Let me spread this out a little bit. It looks bigger, but it's actually easier. This one, because you only have to, I'm just making you choose between the two conjugated verbs in the parentheses. So it says, choose between the past tense and the conditional tense to mean would or could. Follow the model. So in this case, this is like when I was telling you that if you're saying would or could referring to the past, that's not the conditional tense. It's probably going to be the imperfect tense. In some cases, colloquially, you could also use the preterite depending on, what the context is. But I don't want to go into too much detail talking about English, but basically what we're talking about here is it going to be the past imperfect or is it going to be the conditional? So let's go ahead and take a look at the model. When I was a kid, I could play outside. So is it going to be cuando yo era niño, yo podría jugar afuera? Or is it going to be yo podía jugar afuera? And turns out it's going to be podía. Podía. And so for the answer, you just write podía. Cuando yo era niño, yo podía jugar afuera. Now, the next one says, I could play outside right now. I could play outside right now. Well, that's hypothetically speaking. And even though it says right now, the fact that it hasn't happened yet means that it's technically talking about the future. So I could play outside right now. Yo podía jugar afuera ahora o yo podría. It's going to be podría. I could play outside right now. Yo podría. All right. So I could do it later. Yo podría or yo podía hacerlo más tarde. Which one is it going to be? Más tarde means later. More later. Or more late. More late. Más tarde. Later. Yo podría or yo podía. Well, if it's later, like later on, it's going to be podría, right? It's going to be the conditional. And then what about this one? I could do it when I was young. Or in other words, I was able to do it when I was young. Is that podría or is it podía? Yeah, it's podía. Yo podía hacerlo. Hacerlo. This isn't part of what we're talking about, but I just want you to notice lo means it as a direct object pronoun, and it is attached to the end of hacer because hacer is in the infinitive form, so you can just attach it to the end. Cuando era joven, when I was young. Yo podía hacerlo cuando era joven. I could do it when I was young. All right. My mom would call the school when I was sick. It makes it sound like this is in the past. Mi mamá llamaría or llamaba la escuela cuando yo estaba enfermo. It's going to be llamaba because it's in the past. My mommy would call the school when I wasn't feeling well. Cuando yo estaba enfermo. Mi mamá llamaba a la escuela cuando me enfermaba. Cuando estaba enfermo. All right, can you guys do these last three? Can you do these ones? I would call the school right now. When we were kids, we would get the mail every day. We would get it every day. We would get the mail right now. I'll let you guys do those ones. All right, and then there's one more. One more. All right, this one is gonna be hard. I spent a lot of time thinking about this one. How should I write this? That's right. Your Spanish teacher writes his own exercises. Making conjecture about the past. Conjugate the indicated verb to express probability about the past. Follow the model. ¿A qué hora entró el ladrón en la casa? At what hour entered the thief in the house? Or in other words, what time was it when the thief came in the house? And the answer is going to be 3 de la mañana. And so you have to answer it in a complete sentence using a part of the question in your answer, and then it gives you the answer in parentheses. But you're making conjecture about the past, or you're expressing probability about the past. And so you're saying, serían las 3 de la mañana cuando el ladrón entró en la casa. It would be 3 in the morning. So 3 de la mañana means 3 in the morning. Serían las 3 de la mañana means it was about 3 in the morning. And that's probability. It was probably 3 in the morning. Serían las 3 de la mañana cuando el ladrón entró en la casa. This is a use for the conditional tense. You can use it to express probability in the past. So number 1, it says, ¿Cuándo salió Juan? And the answer is going to be la 1 de la tarde. And so, when did Juan leave or go out? And the answer is at 1 in the afternoon. And so you have to say, Juan went out probably at 1 in the afternoon, or it was probably 1 in the afternoon when he went out. We have to follow the model. So let's put the answer first. Serían las 3 de la mañana, because in the model it says 3 de la mañana, and that part comes first. So we have to put this part first. La 1 de la tarde. In fact, I can just copy and paste it right here. La 1 de la tarde. That's the answer that we're going to use. But we have to put it in the conditional tense, el potencial simple. So what are we going to say? Sería la 1 de la tarde. Notice that it's sería because la una is singular. Look at the model. Serían has serían because las 3, well, that's plural. So sería la 1 de la tarde, and then we just put in the question here to answer. ¿Cuándo salió Juan? Juan. Sería la 1 de la tarde cuando salió Juan. Sería la 1 de la tarde cuando salió Juan. Can you guys say that? Sería la 1 de la tarde cuando salió Juan. Try to say it fast without mixing up your tongue. Sería la 1 de la tarde cuando salió Juan. Sería la 1 de la tarde cuando salió Juan. There's about 1 when Juan came out. There's about 1 when Juan came out. Anyway. Okay. So, ¿cómo estaba Juan cuando se despertó? How was Juan when he woke up? Despertó. Cuando se despertó. We know that's the preterite tense. And I've made videos on the preterite tense, the past tense, the imperfect. You can go back and watch those. ¿Cómo estaba Juan cuando se despertó? And the answer is going to be cansado. How was Juan when he woke up? Tired. Cansado means tired. So this part has to be in the answer. And so let's go ahead and put that here. Cansado. ¿Cómo estaba Juan cuando se despertó? We can put Juan estaba. No, we can't say estaba. Let's put estar. Juan estar cansado cuando se despertó. Oops. But it's conditional. We want to say he was probably tired when he woke up. Juan estaría cansado cuando se despertó. He would be tired when he woke up. Or in other words, he was probably tired when he woke up. All right, this is the last one, and then I'll let you guys do 4, 5, and 6. And I'll paste all 3 of these exercises in the comments below. Okay, so, ¿cómo era el novio de Carla? And the answer is guapo. How was the boyfriend of Carla? And when it uses era, that's ser. It's asking about his qualities, or what was he like. If it were estar, that would mean how was he. But if you use ser, then it means what was he like. So what was Carla's boyfriend like? And the answer is guapo, handsome. He was handsome, okay? But we want to say he was probably handsome. He was probably handsome. Because, Carla, so yeah, he was probably handsome if he's hooking up with Carla, okay? All right, so, ¿cómo era el novio de Carla? We say guapo. So we're going to say ser guapo. And we can even, there's a couple of different ways you could write this, but this element would have to be there. Sería guapo. Sería guapo el novio de Carla. Sería guapo el novio de Carla. Carla's boyfriend is probably guapo. Handsome. Okay. That is everything. I'll go ahead and paste those down in the comments below. And I'll pin it at the top so that you know where to find it. If you're watching this on Facebook, you'll just have to click. I'll try to put the link there down below so you can go over to my YouTube channel and put the answers there. Or you can type them down in the comment section below as well. So, muy bien. Espero que lo hayan disfrutado. Gracias.